T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello everybody. I nearly got the timing spot on there. That's
It was
one of my best. Oh, how is everybody out there? And welcome to yet another Flyer live stream. Half an hour of aviation news, views, and all sorts of other bits and pieces. Hopefully, a laugh or two along the way. We're going to kick off with Simon, who's going to run his quiz by us, and then give us the weather for the weekend. And we can all go flying now. And we're going to hand over to Dave for a whole bunch of news. We got a really cheesy quiz that's hopefully a little bit easier, but not that much easier than last week. Odd one out. Stay tuned for that. We'll explain these sunglasses at some point, and fantasy airspace, which we'll explain a little bit later, along with the weekend, with the Thursday night regular of what's been cancelled now. So, anyway, without quibbling on any more, let's go over to Simon. Talk to us about the weather, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Those sunglasses make you look like a rubbish Stevie Wonder. Anyway, let's have a look at the quiz, shall we, before we get on to the weekend weather forecast. So you've got the forecast, the time it takes me to do the forecast to have a go at this quiz. So what I want you to do is to name the air mass that you can see here. And it's the air mass that the arrow is pointing towards. So the arrow isn't the wind direction or anything like that. It's the air mass that the arrow is pointing towards there. So I'll give you a clue. It's coming in on a northwesterly wind. So go on, have a go at what that air mass is. Okay, talking of air masses, what have we got with us over the coming weekend? Let's take a look at the forecast chart for Saturday. Low pressure down towards the south of the country. We've got an easterly air mass over the top of us. So actually polar continental flow across many parts of the country. Now, Saturday actually for flying, not going to be too bad across much of England and also Wales and parts of Central Ireland too. I have to say, it's all a little bit of a mess. There's bits and pieces of rain rotating around this low, but I think for many of those areas, it should be quite flyable. Bases around 2,000 to 3,000 feet, tops about 10,000 to 12,000 feet. Just watch out for lowering freezing levels. Central and northern Scotland got some rain there. You see it associated with the front. And I think that could well reach the ground as sleet and snow. Stronger winds there as well. Possibly southwest England may see some outbreaks of rain in the far southwest of Cornwall. And again, we could find a little bit of rain just rotating into Kent and Surrey and Sussex. Bases there, 1,500 to 2,000 feet, tops at about 10,000 feet. But it's still just on the edge, I think, of VFR-able conditions. So Saturday not looking too bad a day. Now, Sunday looks like this. The area of low pressure over the north of the country on Sunday. Now, that's going to bring with it rain across much of central and eastern Scotland, much of eastern and northern England as well. Notice some showers getting into northern and western Wales and across the northern coasts of Devon and Cornwall. So I think all of those areas, flying not going to be particularly great. Bases about 1,000 to 2,000 feet, tops at about 12 to 15,000 feet, and significant icing conditions, I think, across much of northern England and Scotland on Sunday. Ireland looking better, and actually, I think sort of the southern part of the Midlands, East Anglia, southern parts of England, not looking bad at all for Sunday. I think there it will be VFR-able. Bases around 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops of around 12,000 to 15,000 feet. Just an outside chance of catching a shower, I think, in those areas. But as I say, the big warning for Sunday is over icing across northern England and also Scotland. Just keep a really careful eye on the forecasts if you're planning to go flying on Sunday. So overall, actually, it's not a bad weekend, especially when you think that low pressure is over the top of us. Okay, then. How about the quiz answers? How did we do naming that air mass to the west of Ireland on a northwesterly wind? Go on. Anybody got it right?
So there was plenty of answers, and pretty much everyone came up with polar maritime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're spot on there. It's a polar maritime air mass. And actually, when we're flying, that's not a bad air mass. It means sunshine and showers, and it means that we get cumulus clouds. But usually in that air mass, in the polar maritime air mass, you can fly in between the showers. Good visibility between the showers as well. And I generally give it about a 7 out of 10. So well done, all of you got that. A polar maritime air mass is indeed what it is.
Well done, everyone. I got that wrong before the show because I was following the arrow, not the bloody isobars. So
don't follow the arrow in. Follow the isobars. They'll lead the way.
Well, if you follow the arrow, you probably end up with the answer that John Whiten gave, which was wiggly.
Wiggly.
Yeah, that new well-known air mass.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well done, all. Okay, pleasure
as always, and we'll hopefully see you next week with a bit of luck, with some even better news for some better weather, and we might even start asking that: is it going to be a white Christmas question?
Oh, get your tennis out. Listen, just before I go, very quickly, if you're planning on flying this week, middle to the end of this week actually is looking pretty good. So sort of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday potentially in the coming week, it's not looking bad at all. You heard it here first.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Right.
Okay.
Nice one.
See you later. Bye.
Dave.
News. Yes, so news. The big news this week is that GA flying is back. Lockdown's over, and we're into tiers. So more or less, we can go flying. You still have to obey the tiers that you're wherever you are. So tier 1, there's not many people in tier 1. They can pretty much do what they like. Tier 2 can do a bit more what they like. Tier 3 can't do very much. So that's it. Have either of you guys been flying yet?
Not yet. No, the weather's just been too grim. So
it is. Yeah.
No, unfortunately, not yet.
No.
But hopefully this weekend, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grab a bit.
The CAA, our friends at the CAA, they've revised their airspace revision process. So in other words, when somebody tells them about a bit of airspace that needs a look at, they will now look at it. It's now so good and so transparent we can see straight through. Now, apparently, on the script, Ian, you've put in something about a reminder of form for refusal of transit.
That's right. So there is. We're often told that infringements of airspace and if various warnings get set off, that the CAA have asked or mandated that controllers issue an MOR or worse, alleged breach of navigation order. But there is also a form that you can fill in that's extremely important for a refusal of transit if you can't get a transit anywhere. And this will be very useful in order to revise some of their airspace. I've actually put the address for that form in the notes. So if you're following that, you can go and click on it in the notes and write what you need to write. So hopefully I don't know if you remember, I wrote a column about the CAA's new way of reviewing their airspace classification, and I wasn't hugely impressed, to be honest. It kind of had a lot of, we will consult with ourselves, we'll meet by the coffee machine and have a little chat, we'll talk to some people who control the airspace and see what they think, and then we'll come back and see what we think. So it was all a bit subjective, if you ask me, and a little bit not quite as transparent and see-through as it should be. But let's find out what happens. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe they should invite us.
They've been very active in on the press release that went out. They were keen to point out that obviously it's good for people to use this form, isn't it? They want to know of instances where you can't get the service that you want.
Absolutely. So the link is in the notes, and I'll put it in the description of the video if you're watching it on YouTube later, as it were. Yeah. If I can remember how to do that. So anyway, that's my bit. Back to your pronunciation of that airfield in Wales, Dave.
Well,
I know you like pronunciation.
It's Llanbedra. I don't have any problems with Gaelic words. Llanbedra. It's as put in Llanbedra Airfield. Doesn't it look gorgeous? It's right on the west coast of Wales. It's they've put in for some airspace, put in an airspace change proposal, and to make it so that they can have a danger area. There's a lot of a lot of drone flying, a lot of other sorts of test flying goes on there. At the moment, every time they fly anything unusual, they have to put in for a temporary danger area. But they're putting in for so many temporary danger areas, they're not allowed to do that anymore. So they want to put in for a permanent danger area that will be activated by NOTAM.
Yeah.
The airfield manager, David Young, who we kind of know quite well, he's involved at Kemble as a microlight instructor, as well as being the airfield manager at Clan Bedra. He's made a fairly impassioned plea for this airspace to go through, because it will basically keep the airfield running. He promises that they will only activate it as and when they need to. It won't be very much, and all of the activities that currently go on there, such as the flight school, will continue. So we'll have to see.
It's a really good thing for them. I hope they get it.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a consultation out. You can see it on the Flyer website. There's links and everything there.
Maybe we should have a maybe next spring or summer we should have a little Flyer Club and Livestream fly into Clembeda, or however you say it.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
David, if you're watching this, we're going to come along, and we're expecting to come and say hello, shake your hand, and get some cups of tea and coffee and that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay, moving on. In Switzerland, it seems a bit of a coincidence, but within the space of a few days, 2 electric aircraft projects. This is the Smart Flyer. Both of them have got large chunks of money. Now, the Smart Flyer got a large chunk of money from a local bank, but it's also been funded from the beginning by the Swiss CAA, which seems quite an incredible thing, really. This, they've got this is a hybrid project, so it's got a Rotax engine in the front, basically a generator, and the electric motor at the back. It's an interesting project, but so far all they've managed to do is prove to the Swiss CAA that the drivetrain works. This next year they're going to try and build an aircraft and hopefully have it flying in a couple of years' time. The other project that's got a bit of money, we're not talking small sums here. This is the Bristol electric aircraft fitted with a motor from a Swiss company called H55. H55 has just got £17 million to take its project through to certification with EASA.
Nice.
Not small amounts of money being thrown their way.
That's pretty good. That'll buy a few airplanes.
Do you think where the canopy actually closes properly?
Yeah, it'll buy an improved shut line.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Switzerland is very keen for a clean, quiet aircraft, isn't it? As we all know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next on the news is about the LAA having their own video Oscars, and this is the one that won the Golden Spanner. It's it's about chipmunks.
Really?
Yes, it is. These are all a bunch of chipmunks. The story is actually about one particular chipmunk, but the guy who made the film, well, I think he was on some kind of drugs, really.
It is quite unusual. It's worth watching for oddball production alone, but it's a cute story, and it's good of the LAA to champion a bit of fun video production.
Yeah, well done, LA.
Yeah, and if you want to watch it, again, you can go to the Flyer website onto the news section, and there's a story about it there with the video. Moving along a bit further, last Saturday was the Airability auction, and amazingly, it raised, well, there you are, £51,417, of which some of it was from us, well, to do with us, wasn't it, Ian?
172 quid. 172 quid. Basically, Chris Holliday bid 172 quid to get membership of the Flyer Club for a year, and better still, to come and be a guest on a live stream. So we haven't heard from Chris yet. So Chris, if you're out there, if you're watching, come and join us. Yeah. We look forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us a shout. Get in touch.
Let's hope he knows what he was bidding on.
He knows what he's talking about. He doesn't make that. You don't need to do that to be on here.
Right.
Anyway.
Next, there's a new listening squawk card out. And so it's there's a link. Have you got to put a link up there, Ian?
Where's the link? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I? Hang on a second,
Seamless.
people.
We make this look so pro.
I need to swap. This software is not made really to swap between things. There you go. That text is in there. And what's the infringement video trailer then? There's a great comment from Sean McDonald. Was the infringement video the one that we haven't spoken about? Yeah, entered for the LAA competition.
I don't think so. Too late, I think that was.
Too late. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Steve Slater can have the pleasure of judging that next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ian, sunglasses.
Sunglasses. So basically, I got an email through the other day. This is not a commercial plug, although it might sound like a commercial plug. Got an email through the other day from our friends at Pooley's. Sebastian Pooley sent an email through saying, if you are in the market for a new Bose A20 or even two new Bose A20s, there's a deal at the moment where if you order an A20, you get a pair of these 140 quid Bose audio sunglasses. Now, you shouldn't really wear them over the top of your glasses, but if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't be able to see anything. So that's a bit of a... that's why I'm doing that. Yeah, if you want to listen to music and stuff like that, it actually worked quite well, to be honest. I was a bit surprised. So I got hold of Bose and said, could you send us some so we can have a look at this? And not that I want any, because as you see, not prescription glasses doesn't really work for me. So I'm going to talk to them next week and see if I can persuade them to give them away to one of you lucky winners, and more on that a little bit later on. So there you go. That's the sunglass story. Talk to Pooley's if you want a new headset with some sunglasses as well. There you go. And that wasn't a commercial plug, just because they're nice people.
Yep. So pretty much that's the end of the news, except we've got a few announcements to make about live streams coming up.
You have.
So the first one is about the December 17th live stream, the one before Christmas.
Where's Ed gone?
Where's Ed gone?
He's disappeared.
It's you and me, Ian.
Ed! Yeah, that's weird. No, it's completely disappeared. So not next week, but the week after, August? What am I talking about? December the 17th is the Flyer Giant Christmas Quiz. We're going to have massive Christmas quiz, loads and loads of prizes, including hopefully these. And if you're a commercial organisation out there and you'd like to supply a prize as well, let us know. We're going to try and run it during the live stream, which is probably going to end up being a longer live stream, maybe even pushed to close to an hour, who knows. And we'll try and include some elements on the forum on Facebook and stuff like that, a few early quizzes. So come and join us for the 17th. And then on December the 30th, in between Christmas and the New Year, we'll have another special live stream, which is basically going to be the Flyer team's review of the year. Review of 2020, which has largely been staying at home, not traveling and not flying. But hopefully we can add a little bit more to it than that along the way. So there you go. Dave, do you want to talk about the next bit while I put something up on screen?
Okay, yes. Well, we all know that the end of this year, 31st of December, is the end of the Brexit transition period, or as the CAA calls it, the EU exit. So there's a whole bunch of questions which people have been sending us to us already about what's going to happen, and also the CAA has been holding some Brexit seminars which have ended with Q&A which have not been long enough. So what we've decided to do is devote a large chunk of the next issue of Flyer to answering questions about Brexit. What can I do? What's going to happen to the Lapel? What can I fly? Where can I fly? What kind of aircraft can I fly? What's going to happen to airworthiness? We think there's probably 1.5 million questions. We can't answer that many, so we're going to go for a large number. This is government minister talk. So we haven't yet set a number. We did have a number in mind, but it was far too big. So we're just going to go for a large number of questions. But if you've got a question about Brexit and how it's the end of the Brexit transition period and how it's going to affect you in 2021.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know what happened there.
No, we don't either. You just disappeared. We weren't really sure.
Anyway, if you have a question about what happens in 2021 after the EU exit, send it to us. And we've got a special email address, which is Brexit questions, all one word, at Seeger.aero. So Seeger is spelled the same as Ian's surname, and it's .aero. So Brexit questions at Seeger.aero, but be quick because we're working on it now, and we have to write a copy early next week because it's in the next issue. So questions about Brexit.
Absolutely. And so if you've got any of those specific questions, those awkward questions, send them in. If we don't know, which is highly likely if they're really tricky and awkward, but we do know a whole bunch of people who will get the best answer we possibly can. There will be a couple of questions where we go, we don't know about that yet. But we'll hopefully get the majority of questions answered. And we've got the CA who've said that we can have access to their specialists and talk to them. So send in your questions and we'll do our best to get them answered. And I was reading something on the forum. There's because there's like stuff like if you're a microlight an MPPL-M holder before or now, you can fly to France. But apparently, unless the French make a change to one of their particular laws, you won't be able to because it restricts it to EAA and Swiss things. So hopefully there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. So send us in your questions and don't worry about them being slightly individual and arcane because they probably will apply to other people as well. Thank you very much. Moving on. Good to see you back, Ed. Good to see you back.
I know. Yeah. Despite rumours to the contrary and people asking questions, have I gone to the hangar? No, it's just everything just went dark.
Yeah. Eddie's back in the room.
I know, and just in time for.
Just in time. What are we? Just in time for the quiz.
For your quiz. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can go for a bit if you like, but.
What have you missed? What did you think it was just in time for, Ed?
I thought we were ready for fantasy airspace, but do your quiz first.
All right, we got a quiz. So let me play you a little video. Hello and welcome to this week's Odd One Out. We've got 4 aeroplanes for you. We've got the Packard Blanca. We've got the City of Yuma Aeronca Sedan. The Curtis Robin, and finally the Hacienda Cessna 172.
Ooh.
There you go. Any? I'll pop that up there. I'll get rid of the Brexit email thing there. Any thoughts on that, people?
I'm gonna guess that it's the Aeronca is the only one where someone didn't get out of the aeroplane to do a whole bunch of stuff in flight.
It's not a bad guess. It's not a bad guess. It's the wrong answer, but it's not a bad guess. Dave, it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one, but
sorry, I haven't got a clue.
I'm not got a Scooby. Okay, well the odd one out is actually the Packard Blanca.
Yeah.
It was a Blanca J2 that was modified by having a Packard diesel fitted to it, and they went for the endurance record, and they managed a flight time of. So that's a diesel engine fitted back in 1931, and they managed a flight time of 84 hours and 32 minutes on that, and they're the odd one out because they have the only endurance record amongst these 4 that didn't involve in-flight refueling.
Wow.
All of the others involved in-flight refueling. So the Aeronca Sedan, no, we've just done that one. No, we haven't. The Aeronca Sedan, sorry, was City of Yuma, flew for 46 days and 20 hours. The Curtis Robin, back in 1935, they didn't. All of the others refueled from a truck driving along underneath them, but the Curtis Robin refueled. They actually designed and built the first spill-proof mid-air nozzle for air-to-air refueling in that. And in 1935, they managed 27 days, 5 hours, and 34 minutes. Wow. And then finally, in 1959, the last time anyone was mad enough to attempt this, the record still stands. It's the Cessna 172 Hacienda, which was a kind of sponsored by a local casino. And they flew for 64 days, 22 hours, 19 minutes, and 5 seconds. With their meals handed up to them. Every meal they had was cut into little chunks and put in a hot flask. When someone asked the guy if he would ever try and beat the record again, he said, "What I'll do is I'll stay at home. I'll get someone to feed me with little chopped up food, in a flask until the next morning when I can go and see my psychiatrist. But no, I'll never do it again.
Did they land? Because I'm guessing they probably landed just through sheer boredom of food options, maybe after 60 days.
What actually happened? This was kind of like, it took 3 attempts, and like the first and second attempt were like 17 days and 24 days and stuff like that, and they had some engine issues. But what happened after running for 64 days, 22 hours, 19 minutes and stuff, apparently the plugs and the cylinders and the valves and stuff were so coked up that the power was lost. And I don't know if you can see that in the Hacienda 172. There's a belly tank that you fill up with fuel. And when the belly tank was full of fuel, after that much time, it didn't have huge power reserves, so it was struggling to climb. And frankly, I think they probably just got to that point and went, I think
we're done.
We're done.
No one's going to be mad enough to try and beat us.
No, absolutely. So there you go. It was it was the Belanca.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah. So moving on. What's next?
Well, so normally at this point we would do Fantasy Hangar. However, we thought we were so excited by the CAA's new airspace revision program that we thought, how about some fantasy airspace? So this is, you must have looked at bits of the map sometimes and gone, well, this is nonsense. How about if I could just go and do this? And we thought that would be perfect. So we each took a look at the map and came up with our own chunk of fantasy airspace. And who's first? Is it me?
You're up first, then me, and then it's Dave.
Okay. So I thought, wouldn't it be great, because you've got a nice clear bit to the north and south of the London TMA. Let's have a London TMA north-south VFR corridor. Now, I know some people are laughing already, but I reckon you can be cruising along north of London, and I suggest it comes with a London TMA listening squawk and a discrete frequency. So I'm going to suggest, if this ever goes through, that they go for 0747 for the squawk. But I'm guessing 2,000 feet southbound, 2,500 feet northbound. Don't talk unless they talk to you. And wouldn't that be great? You could just route straight across. Let's have you go straight over Northolt, over the top of London, Heathrow, and exit just to the east of Fair Oaks. It stops you having to route all the way around the TMA. It keeps you away from the Farnborough. We create a zone to make you infringe. So I think this could have legs. So and it's not without precedent, because the helicopterists, they've got the London H9 heli lane, which is nearly a bit like this. And okay, they can come to a complete stop in flight, but I was thinking that if necessary, that you could just be asked to orbit. So so that's my bit of fantasy airspace. Excellent.
Well done. Good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like not that far away from you, but I've got to think about rivers, mainly for reasons which will become clear in a second. So I reckon a VFR up the Thames would be quite good, or along down south of Southampton. That would be quite a nice cut. But I quite like rivers even. And this was me flying with Adrian Norris in his Citabria, and that's the VZ bridge, what's it actually called? The Verrazano Bridge in New York, which is fantastic. And New York do things pretty well with the whole flying along. And it kind of seemed to me, to be honest, that my fantasy thing, although my fantasy bit of airspace is to be able to fly through the rivers, my real overarching fantasy about airspace is that if New York can get you to fly up and down the Hudson, which has got a presidential TFR, 3 major airports, I think the last time I counted, 27 instrument approaches, and aircraft from all over the world approaching, maybe not today, but in normal times, and they can still manage it, then to me, that's because they've got an attitude to go, you know what, we can do this. If we could import some of that attitude, we could do it. Just imagine what we could do. Fantastic.
It's not without precedent either, is it, Ian? Because helicopters can fly along the Thames.
They can, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I can fly along the Thames. I just get charged at the end of it with something.
Yeah. Yes, it's probably not a good look, really.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably
and
not.
the nice thing about the New York VFR corridor is then you can go and fly around the Statue of Liberty. And imagine what would happen if you flew down the Thames and flew around Big Ben.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
Or
would
even,
be interesting.
or even
Yes.
Nelson's column. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you. That seems like a good bit of fancy airspace.
Yep.
Dave, what about you?
Well, I've gone slightly bigger in my ambition. I've come up with this. You see, this is a chart of Great Britain, and if you see that black line around the edges, that is my coastal flight path. So I think it'd be great if there was a flight path, a piece of airspace all the way around the coast of England, at not above 500 feet, and you could just see the whole thing. If you think about it, there's no reason why not to, because you're going to be just offshore and therefore clear of any man-made objects, and you can fly as low as you like, really. I think it's a great idea. Notice that I put in a lap of the Isle of Man, of course, for the TT, and I've also put in a lap of the Isle of Wight, because apparently they're going to hold TT races there next year. So anyway, that's my idea. The round Britain coastal flight path, not above 500 feet.
I like that.
I like that as well. I mean, there's obviously loads of places where you could do that currently, but there's a whole bunch of places where it's a real pain in the backside. Particularly, there's a bunch of stuff on the south coast where the danger areas butt up against the coast and bits of airspace and just get in the way. It would be fantastic. I'd love to do a tour of the UK below 500 feet along the coast. How stunning would that be?
Yeah.
Have we got anyone in the comments coming up with...
Paul Cadell has already called out Dave for being a clear winner. So I have to say, Dave, I think mine is really quite good, and I like Ian's. I think yours might be the best.
I think Dave's nailed it, to be honest.
So anyway, so CAA, if you're listening,
about
this airspace revision, we quite like Dave's coastal, not above 500 feet airspace path.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if they want to come up with a snappier name than that, that's fine. But I think we should have it.
That's it.
Okay.
Excellent.
So,
well done. Jolly good. Dave might have taken that one.
Yeah.
What
We're
have you
nearly
got?
at the end, so we need to push on, really, quite
We
quickly.
do.
We do.
It must be a roundup of things that aren't happening.
There's quite a lot of things not happening. Poor Compton Abbas, they were going to have a Christmas fly-in and Vintage Saturday this coming weekend. Probably the weather would have cancelled them anyway, but they've had to cancel. Fenland were going to have a Christmas fly-in on the 6th. They've had to cancel that. So not looking good for those two events. However, Compton do have a full events list for 2021. Good for them. But there are 2 fly-ins still currently scheduled and still looking as though they're going to go ahead for New Year's Day. One at Bodmin and one at Popham. There may be others, but I haven't heard about them yet.
Excellent. And I heard this week, looking far ahead to June 10th to the 12th, Aero Expo is moving to Cotswold Airport from Wickham.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? It's going to be interesting. I mean, I know that the first vaccine is in the country apparently, but it's going to be interesting to see. We got some big events coming up. Obviously, we got Aero, Sun and Fun, which is not as big as it used to be, but Aero, Sun and Fun, and Oshkosh. Let's hope that they all go ahead. But I think we're not. Anyway, let's be positive. At the end of 2020, let's be positive. Well, there you
That's
go.
it. Lots to do. So,
Okay, brilliant.
we made it to the end.
I believe it just falls to me to remind everyone that if you're watching this and if you enjoyed it, and consider joining the Flyer Club if you're not a member already. It's only £30 a year, £7.50 a month. Fantastic value, access to all of the stuff we create. It would make us feel nice and warm inside at Christmas if you would join us in the club. And if not, and if you can't do that, then it would also make us feel nice and warm if you give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube if you're watching this afterwards. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next week, to the week after, for the giant quiz. So don't forget to tell your friends and come along for that. Loads of prizes that we don't know what they are yet, but we'll find some somewhere. And then on December the 30th, we're going to have the Flyer Team review of the year, the review of 2020, and it will not be a downbeat review. We're going to have an upbeat review of the year for once. So thank you very much, and hopefully see you all next week. See you all.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.